This podcast is entirely listener supported. To find out how you can help, head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Don't be the first or the second or the third to go to Mars.
He's so badass.
He's really badass.
Mark, whatever his name is.
He's a really badass. He's a botanist.
Yeah.
He's a botanist.
He's MacGyver.
A botanist and mechanical engineer. And I was just thinking, like, it's so funny when they say that for the first time in the book. When it goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a botanist and mechanical engineer." I'm like, that's the best two things to study. Why didn't I study?
Because you will always be able to
things.
Survive anywhere if you have those two skills.
That's two great skills.
Two great skills. Yeah.
I studied video editing and animation. I'm an idiot.
Terrible survival skills.
I'm dead no matter where I go.
It's true.
This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Animal rights.
Yeah. Oh, you fell asleep there.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm very, very interested in animal rights.
Yes, you think animals are people.
I think animals are pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And I am not alone. You know who else
The animals
thinks so?
think that.
Probably do. My dog thinks he's people, and it's adorable.
He does.
But no, the country of Argentina.
Argentina, you say?
Argentina, which actually a court in Argentina just ruled that non-human persons can't be kept in cages. Do you like that wording?
Non-human persons.
Non-human persons.
I saw them open at Coachella. The non-human persons, they were amazing.
Basically, there's an orangutan, a 28-year-old orangutan at a zoo in Buenos Aires.
Is that old for an orangutan?
No, they can live pretty long.
Okay.
Central America is very anti-zoo.
Okay.
They're kind of abolishing zoos left and right. They're very into sort of animal rights and not caging up animals. A legal entity in Buenos Aires set out a writ of habeas corpus to a court in Argentina.
On behalf of the orangutan.
On behalf of the orangutan, you must extradite this orangutan. This orangutan must appear in court. And it went through.
Okay.
The court put it through.
All right. Because why? Kangaroo court? What's going on? Now that wasn't even that was just a word that I used. That wasn't.
Yeah, but you used it in a dad joke way. That's not what kangaroo court means, and you know that's not what kangaroo court means. You know what kangaroo court means.
I'm just imagining if maybe the judge was a kangaroo.
I know you were, Dad.
Then maybe he.
I know that was a real funny joke, Dad.
Maybe a
that's your dad joke.
Vested interest to help out the orangutan.
But this is crazy because it's like this orangutan must appear in court. Bring this orangutan here. It has rights.
Did they harangue the orangutan?
God damn it.
Did the orangutan have to stay for the arraignment? Did they arraign the orangutan?
You can't rapid fire, you guys.
I don't want them to harangue the orangutan at arraignment.
I'm so mad at you.
Did it rain at the arraignment? The orangutan? Did they serve tang at the orangutan's
I'm going to punch you. I'm going to punch you in the fucking face.
I've had these pent up. It's
I'm
a new year.
Murder you. I'm going to murder you on this podcast. How do you feel about this?
I think it's a little too far. Now, hear me out. I believe that animals should have certain rights. Mm-hmm. And I also am not a big fan of zoos. I think there is a depression that hangs over zoos like a pall.
Now, there is a case to be made for zoos, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. And I'm
in terms of protecting animals,
yes.
In terms of
ensuring
repopulation of endangered animals, all that stuff.
Yes. And I'm sure there are plenty of zoologists and I don't know what you call somebody that
orangutan lawyers.
Yeah, orangutan lawyers. I'm sure there's plenty of people who work in those places that treat animals with respect and kindness and are very conscious of not mistreating the animals in any way and creating environments that are suitable to their well-being, right? So clearly not all zoos are created equal.
But at the same time, it's like, do we need to keep that lion in a habitat just so kids can see a lion? Lions are fine.
I'll tell you. A lot
of African, like lions are pretty okay in terms of population.
When I went to Chicago just recently, the Chicago Zoo is crazy. I had never seen a zoo that you can just walk up to.
Yeah.
There's no fee. You just walk in. which is awesome. And I went over. There's a
You walk in, you can just put a lemur in your jacket. No one notices. You walk right out.
Leave with a lemur. Everybody gets a lemur.
You're not supposed to, but they're just there.
I went over to there's a lion cage,
Mhm.
and there was a window where there was like, I don't know, about 15 people standing there. And we went over to it, and there was this gigantic, majestic King of the Beasts lion pacing in front of this window.
Just going nuts.
Looked like he was insane and not right. And it made me feel so terrible. I was like, now I don't know anything about lion psychology. Maybe that's completely normal behavior. Maybe he's fine. But there was certainly a sense of something, of mistreatment, of some kind of, this creature does not belong here doing this. And that really bugs me. But having said all that, having legal precedent now for non-human persons, I feel is a slippery slope of weird.
Why?
I don't know what all the ramifications of that are. And while I support protecting animals, like I want to protect the elephants that are going extinct because people want their ivory. I want to protect the whales. I watched that fucking documentary about the whales. It was I just feel like getting into the realm of all animals have the same rights as humans. It's too broad. It's too broad for me. There needs to be more nuance in a ruling like that. And it worries me.
Well, I think it's rad.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly rad. When you think about the emotional intelligence and just the straight up intellect of especially apes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're finding out more and more about their ability to speak, to communicate with us, their ability to solve a lot of tests, a lot of IQ tests and IQ problems that, children can't solve. This thing is smarter in a lot of ways than a lot of the children you've met.
Yeah. But I do hang around with moron children.
You hang out with the dumbest children.
It's weird that I do that.
Yeah.
But
and a lot of people have commented on how weird it is.
I like to win at games. I'm sorry. I like to win.
Gambling games. Hey, kids.
Hey, kids.
Do you have any lunch money? I want to teach you something.
Do you like pinochle?
Yeah. So if these animals are smarter than a child, would you keep a child in a cage?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
called a playpen, man. Come on.
But that's really what it comes down to, isn't it? If something is as smart as a child,
right?
There's no but it's not a child. Why? Because it's not human?
Right.
If it's just as smart, where's your case?
Yeah. I mean, that's true. But then where does it stop? Is it all intelligence based? Because do you just get to a level of, it's dumb enough that we can subjugate it now? And then it's like,
now, you're adding a slippery slope to something that is like, look, right now there is no level where we say it's okay to subjugate. Right now the answer is it's okay to subjugate.
Yeah.
So right now, your slippery slope is anything that is potentially as smart as a human, as long as it's not a human, we can do whatever the fuck we want with.
Well, but then what if somebody comes to your house and goes, you can't just keep that dog in your backyard? You can't just... Did you just whack that dog in the nose with a rolled up newspaper?
Never. They wouldn't be talking to me that way.
Well, I'm just saying there are things that we do with animals that probably could be interpreted as being inhuman.
Well, but we're learning a lot more about dogs now,
Inhumane is what I should say.
We're learning a lot more about dogs ever since we had Chaser sit in that MRI for us.
Right.
They have a very deep complexity of feeling, and there are a lot of people who are mistreating their dogs.
Right.
And it's because, I own this thing and I get to treat it however I want because I own it. But I mean, that's why we have things like the ASPCA. That's why we have things like animal control who can literally come to your house and be like, you can't mistreat that animal.
Yeah. No, and I believe in that stuff. I don't want to paint myself into a weird corner of supporting something I don't.
No, and I don't think you're even doing devil's advocate. You're generally just asking the question.
Right.
What is the line?
What is the line?
Where do we draw it?
And I give you a lot of credit because you live with the courage of your convictions. You are a vegetarian, so you don't even have to. You don't even have to make a caveat for saying, "Well, I want to eat them."
Well, I mean, there is. I'm not vegan.
Right.
I don't draw that line.
That's true.
Whereas, there is a case to be made that if I really did care about animal rights, I would be 100% vegan.
Right.
Because my sneakers are leather.
Right.
And I think they're badass. I have some fucking sweet kicks that I just got, and I love them. But, the animal died for him.
Right.
A cow, which is in a lot of ways just as intelligent as a dog, which means that it's just as intelligent as my little buddy that I keep around in the house. And I killed it and I skinned it and I'm wearing it on my feet.
If they had sweet ass orangutan sneakers, would that be because that animal is too smart?
I mean, any animal that you can make into sweet sneakers,
right.
I say we kill.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's my line.
That's why you've been advocating for those human sneakers. You're like, Michael Jordan should be made out of Michael Jordan.
I'm just saying. It's false advertising. I thought I was wearing a piece of Michael Jordan. But no, it's a slippery slope in terms of it forces a lot of people to change the way they're thinking.
Yeah.
In a way that, and you know what? It's perfectly okay to say, well, I don't want to put these animals in zoos. I don't want these animals mistreated, but I'm going to eat animals. I think that's fine. I genuinely do. I think it's like, well, look, man, as long as the cows aren't covered in sores and miserable, I'm cool with killing it and eating it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, hey,
respect it while it's alive, kill it humanely, and then you're fine.
I think that's fine. That's my personal. I mean, my personal line is I don't eat it, but I think that's a fine line. And I don't get all uppity with people when they say like, look, man, I'm just going to eat hamburgers and chicken and shit until the day I die. And that's the natural order of things, because I believe it is.
Now, do you come at this from a place of because there's intelligence there, because there's emotional complexity there, because they feel pain and discomfort? Is that where you're coming at it from?
Yeah, I think, we've touched on this before where we gauge intelligence in terms of human expressions of intelligence.
Right.
We don't know how to look at something that isn't human and gauge how smart it is, other than like it responds to my commands.
Right.
But I do think there is an emotional complexity and an intelligence that we have to respect and honor. And it's funny because we do recognize it to a certain extent. We don't eat monkeys.
Right.
Right? Even in countries where there are a lot of monkeys, they don't really eat a lot of monkeys.
Pretty gamey,
but also kind of like, I don't know, adorable.
Yeah.
Right. And there's
too close to me.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of intelligence there. So it's like, well, we don't do that. I mean, we do if we have to.
Yeah.
But there are other animals. There are other animals that we eat first.
Yeah. Right. Let's eat the dumb ones first.
Eat the dumb ones, then the ugly ones.
Yeah.
Then the cute ones, then the cute smart ones.
What if, this may be a dumb question, but what if you could demonstrate some sort of plant intelligence? Would that be a game changer for you? If there was some way to have a scale that showed there's some intelligence in the life that is flora and fauna.
I mean, there is, in the sense of they respond more complexly to stimuli than we thought previously. And we do know that they have a very simplistic, quote unquote, pain response.
Right.
Like, we do know that.
Right.
But you're right. There's a line. Like, where do we draw it?
Yeah. And I mean, do you think that this kind of ruling in Argentina leads to no more zoos? And if so, is that a good thing?
Well, the first thing is it has no bearing anywhere outside of Argentina, right?
Yeah. Right.
You could write a summons for a monkey here in the U.S. and be like, this monkey must appear in court. This monkey was a witness to murder.
Murder most foul.
I demand that this monkey be brought to a court of law. This monkey is the key to the whole case.
Sustained. Monkey, where were you on the night of February 14th, Valentine's Day? Monkey, this court requires you to answer the question.
Monkey, is there someone in the room that's making you afraid to speak?
Monkey, could you point at that individual now?
Let the record show that the monkey is shitting into its hand and throwing it at the defendant!
Sir, I rest my case, Your Honor, and I rest my feces.
I'm sure that would have been very heart-wrenching if you could speak human, you idiot monkey.
Let's eat him.
Let's eat him, everybody. I would definitely like to see more animals treated more like people, I think.
Yeah.
And I know that that's weird, but I think it's going to become less and less weird as time goes on. I think more people are going to feel that way.
So is it more of a Star Trek Prime Directive, let's let them just be them and get out of their way type of thing? Should we just let the monkeys be monkeys and not interfere?
Until one of them raises a fucking hand to me.
Yeah. Then you murder him.
Then I murder that monkey.
And then he freaking rats you out right in the middle of court.
I turn him into a pair of fucking shoes.
Yeah.
As an example. Shoes. To let all the other monkeys know. You're smart, but I'm smarter, asshole.
Yeah.
That's where that comes down to.
That's the food chain right there, baby.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. If in 50 years it was like, hey man, you gotta, there are no more zoos. You've got to treat animals in a certain way, and there is a certain animal. Okay. What if it was like cow? Like we just don't eat cow anymore.
I don't eat cow, but yeah. Okay.
You don't eat cow?
I do not.
Why?
My dad had quadruple bypass, and I try to stay away from red meat.
So for purely selfish reasons.
Yeah, actually, it's even weirder than that. That's the reason I tell people.
Yeah.
But that's not really the reason.
Whoa.
I know. That's
exclusive.
That's the reason that
exclusive. It
gets people to stop asking me the question because people go, "Oh, I get it." But I made that decision before my dad ever had any heart problems. The real reason is that I love beef and I loved steak, and I always thought to myself, God, I could never give that up. And then in college, I got to the place where I wanted to say to myself, you should be able to do anything you set your mind to. What is something that you always said, I could never do that? And the first thing I thought of was eating meat.
Huh.
And so I cut out all meat for a while and then kind of just stuck with not eating beef as just sort of a personal challenge to myself.
Okay. But at this point, you've proved it.
Right. And
have
then
you ever thought about like going back and eating a burger or something?
I had a steak. When we were doing TRS, we went out, and these guys, when we were in New York, this ad team decided they wanted to treat us to these $100 steaks. And I was like, I love steak.
Yeah.
Had loved it. Hadn't eaten meat at that point in like 8 years. And I was like, I'm not going to let this opportunity go by. I want to taste what a $100 steak tastes like. I had a whole steak. Within 15 minutes of finishing my meal, I was throwing up in the bathroom.
Because
my body didn't know how to handle
it. Anymore,
and it wasn't like I had I had a whole fucking gigantic $100 steak.
Yeah.
It tasted really good going down, but it did not feel good coming back up. And at this point, and also then my dad had those health problems, and I felt like, yeah, it's time, like I can stick with this because I've been doing it for so long. That's just who I am now. Yeah.
Nothing to do with the animal at all.
Nope.
Nothing
to do. Although I do feel. I feel
like what if we dig down and we find out that like when you were 6, a cow pushed you out of the way of an oncoming train.
Yeah. That cow, it like slowly pushed me out of the way.
It was like,
the train was easily 45 minutes out. But that cow started working on it. He was like, ding, 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 like bell ringing as he saunters up to me. I'm sitting on the tracks.
But knowing all this research that's been happening lately with dog intelligence, monkey intelligence, bird intelligence, where they had crows that were like solving memory puzzles.
Yeah, I saw a video on that.
Has any of that made you think like, are we treating animals right? Should we be eating them? Should we be?
I definitely am on the page of I don't think you should have pigs in a pen where they can't turn around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely on the page of I don't think chickens should be, prevented from ever having feathers and, just treated in the absolutely disgusting manner in which big farming has treated them.
Yeah.
But I don't go as far as to say I don't think anybody should eat them. I don't think anybody should eat cows because of the freaking environmental problem they provide.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on that page, but I guess I'm heartless when it comes to animals. I do not feel that sense of emotional attachment that leads me to want to preserve them as people.
Yeah. I would love to know how people feel about this. You can let us know on Twitter. I'm at @acarboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
Animals are people. Right.